about negative memories and constantly reliving the past. Too often we are constantly bringing back old memories into our consciousness, into our now, and not realizing that every time you bring back a past memory, especially those that are negatively charged, you are literally bringing that energy, those emotions, into your energetic field now. And your energetic field is your point of attraction. It's what's going to determine what you attract, the kind of people, the experiences, and events that you bring into your reality. So even though ideally we really should be in the present moment, I want you to just be mindful of the memories that you keep replaying in your mind, especially those that are negative. And oftentimes what we need to do in order to release our past is to go into those memories that are emotionally charged for us and come as the observer, come into the experience as the observer from a higher perspective. And seek, when you're doing that, when you're doing the life review, you're coming as the observer and you're looking at the situation from a higher perspective, and look to see, what did you learn? Maybe you don't know what you learned from it, but now going back, you can recognize what that experience brought you, the gifts, the lessons, the path that it put you on, that perhaps if you didn't have that experience, you wouldn't be where you are now, or you wouldn't be who you are. And so try to always seek the highest good of the situation, even if it's something terrible that you went through, because everything is always serving a purpose to help us become more of our greater self. And oftentimes too, it's about going into the past and really being able to forgive ourselves or forgive others for the things that we went through, because that locks us in vibrationally. So it's important to do release work when we are wanting to really become manifestors and creators of our life. And so I'm going to share with you an experience that I went through and how I was able to find a higher perspective in it. If you are signed up to my newsletter on Creating Within, I share a story of an experience that I went through while I was traveling. And basically the story is towards the end of my travels, I met a guy, and a lot of things I didn't listen to my intuition. And long story short, this guy ends up hitting me one day. And for me, this created a lot of shame and a lot of guilt in me, because I had never, number one, experienced something like that, and number two, I had always been like, I never understood women who were in like abusive relationships, or how they stayed, or why they put up with the shit that they put up with. And so for me, I just couldn't understand, number one, how I allowed myself to get in that situation, and the things that I did. Like, it was just all this guilt and shame, and it rocked my world for almost 2 years. But I didn't want to look at it because there's too much shame and guilt on it. But I can tell you that the moment that I went into it and I looked at it, I was able to, and come from a higher perspective, I was able to start releasing. I was able to release it because I understood why I went through the experience that I went through. And actually, I'm very grateful for it now. There was a point in my life where I couldn't even talk about it, because it was just, there's so much shame around it. Even my body, I physically got ill. I went through a lot of things, but that's neither here nor there. It's not for this video. But basically, I recognized that going through that experience, it gave me the gift of knowing what shame and guilt feels like, something that I hadn't experienced to that degree before. And I also, it gave me the compassion and relatability to understand how someone can put themselves in a situation like that, how someone can stay in a situation like that, and what it takes to get out. And whereas before, I would have never had this perspective or insight. And especially in part of my life mission and path is to work with women and to work with people and to coach and to be that spiritual teacher that has always been in me. But if I didn't go through that experience, I wouldn't be able to relate with so many of the women that I currently work with now, because I wouldn't have known what guilt and shame felt like. So, and that's such a huge thing that a lot of us carry. So I wouldn't have had the visceral experience to relate and come from that space of knowing what it feels like to be in that space and what it takes to get yourself out. So that's a way that you go back into an experience and you seek the higher perspective, seek what it taught you or what you gained from it, because there's always a higher perspective and a higher purpose for you in everything that you go through, even the things that are very terrible in our lives. So I hope that this video helps you somehow in some way, and helping you release your past, or at least just bringing you a little bit of insight and recognizing that every time that you are thinking negative memories or reliving the past, you are literally putting yourself back into that space, and you are attracting now from that level of experience, of frequency. So at least be mindful of that. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.